Yo, what is up, guys? It is Rackety Tam here with another video. I haven't recorded in a long time. Today I am going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to make custom portrait mods for the custom Companion UI Remastered, whatever the fuck it's called. Sorry, I'm not going off of a script. Usually I go off of scripts and videos, but I am kind of like freestyling this entire thing because I have work tomorrow morning. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom companion status UI. That way, your companion portrait ends up looking like that.
Sorry.
Which is actually pretty cool. This is the Nora spouse mod, and I transformed Nora into my girlfriend Eva. Alright, and this is what it looks like with a DLC companion. So I'm using Longfellow, for example.
I'm sorry.
This is what I made for Longfellow.
Lost control.
So it looks pretty good, and I'm really excited to share with you guys how I was able to fucking figure this out in like the middle of the night. I think I stayed up till like 3 a.m. trying to figure it out, and then the next morning I had to help my sergeant with a surgery. That's the Air Force life. But here, let me go ahead and show you how I did it. Alright, so first thing first, obviously you're going to want to download the Companion Status HUD mod. You're going to download this, and you're going to also download its requirement HUD framework. And you are also going to download the Companion Status UI Remastered mod, which adds these custom portraits to the game. And small disclaimer before you get your hopes up, alright, this is going to be the disclaimer. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at English, so it's going to be kind of hard for me to explain. Pretty much how the Companion Status UI Remastered mod works is that it gives all 12 base companions a custom portrait. These are all the custom portraits that are added by the mod into the game. So it does not add a portrait for any DLC companion, and it does not add a portrait for any modded companion like Heather Kasdan. Instead, DLC and modded companions all will share the same default profile or portrait picture that you download from this mod. So you get an option of choosing between a Nuka-Cola, a Vault Boy, or a Vault Girl as a default picture that will represent all DLC companions and modded companions. What I am doing in this video is replacing the picture of a default profile picture with the custom portrait that we are making ourselves. Do you see where I'm getting at? If I am just replacing the default picture, the custom portrait, say for example you make of Ada, is going to apply to all companions that don't have a portrait. So if you have more than one modded or DLC companion in your party, they're all going to share the same custom portrait that you made. So pretty much, for example, say you have McCready, Ada, Longfellow, and Heather Kasdan all in your party, and you made a custom portrait for Ada. That custom portrait of Ada is going to apply to Longfellow and Heather Kasdan as well. As of right now, I haven't figured out a way to make it so that you can make a custom portrait for individual NPCs at the same instance. I only know how to edit the portrait of one person at a time, which is why if you're going to be doing this, I would not recommend having more than one non-base game companion. So if you're going to be going out in a party, I would recommend either having like 2 to 3 base game companions and one either DLC or modded companion. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean, but yeah. Alright, but I'm getting ahead of myself. That was a small disclaimer. Let's actually get into how we're going to edit the default companion portrait and replace it with a companion portrait of your choosing. So first step we're going to do is try and get a image that you're going to be using as the custom portrait. And just to make things easier, I'm also going to be making another custom portrait along with you guys so you guys can see my whole process, because you know I'm really bad at English. So I'm going to be making a custom portrait for Ada. We'll do Ada. So I don't really care how you get your custom portrait. This is how I do it. If you aren't a talented artist or don't really want to spend money, what I do is I just use ChatGPT. I use AI, I know, AI generated art, oh god, yeah. But I use ChatGPT, so I'm going to get an image of Ada that I want. Alright, so I'll use this image right here of Ada. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ChatGPT. I honestly do not know if you can even generate images with the free version of ChatGPT, but I have ChatGPT 5. I have the paid version, so do with that as you will. But pretty much, if you are going to be using the ChatGPT method of getting a custom portrait image and using AI generated art, which is what I did for my Eva and Longfellow, follow along with this part of the video. If you're not and you already have a picture that you want to use in mind, just skip and skip to the time posted on the top right. But if you're going to be using the ChatGPT, just follow along. So what you're going to do is you're going to paste this prompt into ChatGPT 5. Alright, so someone the companions from Fallout 4. Boom. So this is going to be the prompt. It's going to process it, and it's going to ask you to send the fan art of the Fallout 4 companions and then an image of the new character you'd like drawn in the same style. Boom. And so I'm going to attach the style reference image that I'm going to be sending to ChatGPT in the description. So if you want to use the same style reference, you can just download the image that I'm going to be using. But it's pretty much this image right here. So I'm going to go ahead and it's literally just a screenshot of this right here. So I am going to be, boom, first image, and I'm going to send that, and it's ChatGPT is just going to process it and be like, okay, that's the art style you're going to use, and then now it's going to ask for the character, the image of the character that you want. So I'm going to copy this image of Ada, paste it, and then boom. That should generate an image, so I'll cut to when it actually generates the image. Alright, boom. I am back, and it actually generated a fucking perfect image that I wanted for my custom companion portrait mod, which is amazing. Sometimes you will not get lucky, and ChatGPT will like spit out the most bullshit fucking portrait. Like for example, right here it was giving me some dog shit, so I just had to like try and readjust and talk to it, try and give me more. Let's see if I have another one. For example, like this. I was trying to make one of my girl, and then the whole body was sticking out, so then I had to like try and adjust it, and I was finally content with this one. If ChatGPT does give you a good one and you're happy with it, you should be all good to go with getting your portrait. So now that you have your portrait, what you're going to want to do is scale the image down. So you can use any photo editor you like. I use Pixlr because Pixlr is free and really easy to use. So you're pretty much just going to create an image, and you're just going to want it to be 256 by 256. Boom. And then you're just going to paste that image and shrink it down. Alright, and if you see that the image has a white background, that is perfectly fine. No big deal, okay? All you're going to want to do is click on the scissors. If you are using Pixlr, which I recommend doing because I'm doing it in this picture, you're just going to want to cut it out. Boom, AI Auto. It's going to automatically cut out the white background. File, save as image, save as PNG, and then type it Ada portrait. Boom. And now you have your companion portrait. Now you're going to want to create the exact same thing, but have this fully whitened, and that's so you can create this like kind of like a white border. You see how in all these images, see in all these portraits, they have like a white outline to it. That's pretty much done by having the image in the background but fully white to create an outline sort of thing. Alright, and to pretty much make that portrait just fully white, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to hit the fill, make sure that this color right here is white, and then you're going to click on the image, set your tolerance to like 200, and then just click on like the background of the image, and it should make the full circle white. But then you'll see that the background is also kind of tinted white, so you're just going to go back to cutout, click AI Auto, and it should take out that white tint, and boom, now your whole image should be white again. And then save it, boom, and then you can just call this Ada outline, boom. Now that you've gotten both the portrait and the fully white version of that, you're going to want to vectorize it. So we are going to be going through, we're going to be going into vectorizer.com. So vectorizer.com, and we are going to be dropping both the portrait and the fully white version, the whited out version of it as well. And you are going to be downloading them as SVG files. So just download this and download that, and then boom, now you should have them like this. So you can go ahead and delete these PNGs now. Alright, so now we are at the part where we are going to replace the default portrait. So this thing right here. So to do that, you are going to download this little thing called JPEXS Decompiler. You're going to go onto the website. I linked it in the description, and you are going to download this program. Just click the installer that applies to you. For me, it's Windows Installer. And once you start downloading it, it's going to mark it as a virus. It's going to give you multiple warnings that it's a virus. I promise you it is not. I was very scared, very skeptical. I was very terrified, but I promise you it is not a virus. So just go ahead, keep it in your computer, and you should have it downloaded. Now once you have it downloaded, you're going to go ahead and open it up. So Decompiler. And once you do open it up, you are going to be greeted with this screen right here. Welcome to JPEGs Free Flash Decompiler. So now that you're greeted with this screen, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up your mod file. So the file that holds all these custom portraits, you're going to want to open that up with this Flash Decompiler. So to find that file, it's pretty simple. You're just going to go into your Fallout 4 folder, and then you're going to go to Data, and then go to Interface. And then while you're here, I would recommend pinning this folder to Quick Access. You're going to be using this folder a lot. Go to Interface, and then the Companion Status.swf. That's going to be the file that you're going to be uploading into here. Go ahead and drop that in there, and it should open up the companion portraits like this. It should look like this. This is what it should look like. This is what it should look like right here. If it doesn't look like this and you run into an issue saying something along the lines of, what do you call this? Cannot load SWF file, java.lang.stack overflow. What you need to do is you're going to want to, obviously, so say for example, I'll show you. So yeah, is basically, so you couldn't open up the file, it's overflow. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up the Flash Decompiler anyways, and then click on Settings, and then go to Advanced Settings, and then you're going to want to click Reset. It's going to restart the program, and that should hopefully allow you to open up, what do you call this, the companion status.swf. What it's going to say is something along the lines of this. See, the SWF file. So when you see this image, that is perfect. This is what you want to see. You're going to get a warning saying the SWF file uses assets from an imported SWF. Do you want the assets to be loaded? So you're going to click yes. It's going to say cannot load imported SWF fonts, like SWF fonts. So do you want to select local file? You're going to say no. And then boom, it's going to open it up. Boom, just like that. And that's what I had been struggling with. I was struggling personally with just trying to open up this fucking mod file because I just kept getting that overloaded. I didn't know how to fix it. But you just got to reset the settings and it should be all good. So now we're going to go ahead and edit the default portrait and replace it with our own image. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to go, obviously, fully maximize your screen first. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to head to this place where it says Shapes. This is where it holds all of your custom portraits. So you're going to go to Shapes, and you're just going to pretty much click through until you find your shape, which should be default child. Let's see if I can find it. There you go. 33 and 32. Default child 32 and 33. These are going to be your two custom portraits. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right click, define shape, and then click replace, and it's going to open up this, and then that's when you're going to go into the place where you downloaded your custom portrait that has been converted into an SVG file. Boom. And it should just replace just like that. And then you're going to do the same thing with the outline. So I have the Nuka-Cola outline. I am going to go ahead and replace that with my Ada outline instead. Boom. Perfect. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to go down here to where it says dependent characters, and you're going to click 36. And it's going to take you into like the main frame area. This is where it stacks both the outline and the image together, and then you're just going to adjust it. So as you can see, your portrait's going to have a sort of like red tint to it. So we're going to get rid of that red tint first. So you're going to go into the Divine Sprite Child 36, and you're going to open it up like this. Boom. Open up frame 1. And then you're going to see you have the 3 objects. This is going to be the white outline, and then this is going to be the actual portrait. This is what's actually tinted red. So what you're going to want to do is click on object 2, which is going to be the actual portrait. And you are going to go right here to the right where it says color transform. You're going to open that up. You're going to see that it has a bunch of shit right here that you don't want. You're going to want to change all of these. So you're going to change this. If I can edit it. You're going to want to click edit. And then you'll be able to type here. You're going to change it to 0. Boom. Change this. 0. Boom. Change this to 0. Boom. Click save. Boom. No more tint. Perfect. Yay. Now we are going to fix the scaling, because as you can see, this is kind of looking a little scuffed. If you look at this portrait compared to Preston Garvey's portrait, you can see that it is not as good. So what we are going to do is we are going to fix that. So we're going to first fix this outline. Boom. You're going to hit object 2, hit transform, and then what I like to do is I like to hit this grid box looking thing and show the grid so I can see how long it is. Usually I like to keep it within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So I am going to spread this out within 6 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. That should be good. Just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Perfect. We're going to save, and then we're going to do the same to the white background. This one, you don't have to be as specific. All you got to try and do is just try and have it outline the image. So we're going to try our best to do that. Let's try and do this. Boom. Boom. Perfect. Just like that. And now I have the white outline, so I'm going to go click frame 1, which selects the whole thing. And I should have a white outline for Ada, just like that. Perfect. Now we're going to go and test this to see if it works or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this, and we're going to click Save As. And we are going to save this as an SWF file. So we are going to go, and what I would recommend doing is I would make a folder. So you know how I said that obviously you can't have multiple custom portraits at one instance. You can only have one custom portrait at a time. What I would recommend doing is I would create a folder called Companion Portraits, and then paste all of your custom companion status mods in there. Alright, and then I'll show you what to do later. So I already have a folder, so I'm going to go to that folder right here, which is Custom Portraits. Where is it? Companion Portraits. And then I'm going to save it as the name, so Ada, and then Companion Status. And that should save it as a .swf. So let's go ahead and check on that, see if it worked. Downloads. Ada Companion Status at SWF. Perfect. That is what we needed. Now that we have that settled, we're not going to exit out of this just yet. We're going to minimize it, and I'll show you why in a second. Now we are going to replace that default image. Now that we have the file, what we're going to do is we're going to create a copy and paste it. And then you know how I said we're going to pin interface folder, right? This is why. We are going to delete the ADA from this, and then delete the copy. And then now it's just going to say companion status.swf, and that's what you are going to drag into the interface folder. And it's going to say there's already a folder or file named this. You're going to say yes, I know that. I am going to replace the file in the destination. Boom. And now you have officially downloaded the mod. You're going to go into the Vortex, you're going to deploy your mods again, and then you're going to go to plugins, and you're going to sort your mods again. And that's why I said it's really useful to download a folder with all your companion portraits, because every time you're going to want to swap out one of your DLC or modded companions and use a different custom portrait, you're just going to literally make a copy. So say I have the Ada downloaded right now and I want to use my girlfriend, I would just copy, paste, delete the first name, and then delete copy until it just says companion status, and then drag that, and then boom. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and check to see if it works. So let me just go ahead and find Ada first. Ada should be somewhere in this. There she is. Alright, we're going to have Ada join our party.
Ada?
A pleasure to see you again, sir. Are you ready to depart?
Yep, let's go.
Time to hit the road.
Understood.
And let's see if it works. So this is going to be the next step, seeing if it works and then adjusting the portrait ever so slightly just to try and perfect it and make it look legit. So we're going to hit our companions to activate the status. Boom. It works. Perfect. But this is where we go to perfect it. As you can see, the portrait is too big.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So what we are going to do now is we are going to exit the game, go back into here, and as you can see, the portrait was really big. So I'm going to want to shrink it down by a lot and maybe center it a little bit. So we're going to go back into our Flash Decompiler, and then what you're going to do is click Define Sprite Child 36, because this controls both the white outline and the portrait at the same time. You're going to click this and then click Transform, and that's going to pretty much allow you to adjust it to how you want. So since we want it to be a little smaller, or a lot smaller actually, we just click this whole thing and then make the entire thing smaller, and then probably we don't have to move it around, you just make it smaller. Boom. Save it, and then click Save As, and then just go to your Ada companion status, save it, then go back to files, and then like I said earlier, just make another copy of that, and then boom, drag that in there, replace the file, deploy your mods, sort them, and then launch the game. Alright, and now let's see if that works. Preston Garvey, and now let's look at Ada. A little bit better. I could probably shrink it even more, but you get the gist of it. I'm not going to go and sit around and fucking try and perfect it. I lied. I ended up perfecting it because it was bugging me. But yeah, as you can see, I was able to resize it and everything, and now it looks amazing. And that is pretty much the whole gist of how to make a companion portrait. Pretty much just turning your image into a vectorizer and then fucking trying to open up Flash Decompiler, which is pretty much the whole reason why it's like so hard to make it, because Flash Decompiler is just always not working. But with that workaround, that should be a way to do it. But I just have one more thing to talk about. Alright, so this is what I wanted to show you guys before I head out on the video. Just one more thing that we need to fix. This issue didn't happen with the mod that I just made for Ada, because for some fucking reason ChatGPT just wanted to give me the most fucking perfect image ever with no errors. But most of the time, even if you don't use an AI generated image, if you replace a portrait with your own custom-made portrait, you might have this thing where you'll look at the portrait itself and you'll see that there are a bunch of squiggly white lines covering your fucking portrait. Those squiggly, nasty, infected white lines. And depending on how shitty your image quality is, the more white lines will come up on your portrait. Here's an example photo of one of my very first attempts at making a portrait for one of my custom companions. As you can see, there was a bunch of white squiggly lines and I hated it. And I'm going to show you how to fix that. So, like I said earlier, it didn't happen with Ada because for some reason the image that ChatGPT wanted to give me for Ada was almost god tier perfect. But most of the time, if you're going to be making your own image using artwork or using ChatGPT, if you have a really complicated image, you might get a worse image quality, and that's going to lead to a lot of white squiggly lines. So I'm going to show you how to fix that right now. Okay, so I have that Eva Companion Status mod opened up on the Flash Decompiler, and you can see that there are a bunch of white squiggly lines. And you'll be able to see that the reason why there are a bunch of white squiggly lines is because these SVG files are very weird. And these white lines are caused due to too many little paths, textures, noises, and shapes just not lining up with each other. And that's why it just looks so low quality and cluttered when you scale this image down. So what we are going to do is we are going to try and get rid of these white lines manually and filling them up with color. And we are going to be doing that using an app called Inkscape. So I'm going to link the download to this app on the description, but this is pretty much just going to be kind of like Photoshop for SVG files. So you're just going to download it, download current stable version, and then boom, whichever one that you use. Alright, so once you have Inkscape opened up, you should be introduced to this screen. You're going to click File, you're going to click Open, and you are going to click that SVG file of the portrait that you have. So in this case, this is our portrait that we are using. So we are using this portrait for the mod, and we are going to edit it manually. So you'll see that there are a bunch of white lines, and you'll see that this portrait is actually pretty much made up of individual shapes, as you can see. It's literally like a puzzle piece. They're just all made up of individual shapes, and the reason why it's causing these white lines is because they are not fitting correctly. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that these white lines fill up correctly. So what you're going to do is you are going to zoom in and click one of these shapes, and then you're going to go to here to the right where it says Fill and Stroke. You're going to select Stroke Paint. You're going to select Flat Color. Then you're going to go down here to the eyedropper button, and then click the color of the shape that you just chose. And then you're going to go to Stroke Style and type it in as 0.1. And that should fill up the white line enough to the point where the white squigglies are bearable. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, especially if you have such a complicated fucking image like mine, but it should be enough. And what I like to do is I like to just do the background. The white squiggly lines on the armor, you can obviously try and fix, but I would recommend just doing the outline, just the background, because that's where it stands out the most. On the armor and stuff, and on the actual character itself, it's not really going to stand out. But the background is where the white squiggly lines stand out the most. So I would recommend just saving your time and only fixing the white lines on the background itself. So we are just going to click every single shape that's in the background. Boom, paint, stroke style 0.1. Boom, this. Boom, 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 boom. 0.1. And we're just going to be doing this for every single shape until we no longer have too many visible white squiggly lines in the background. And for me, it's obviously going to be a little bit harder because my shit is so complex. Hopefully yours isn't like that. And then I'll also do the hat as well. I'll also do the hat and armor because you can obviously see some white squiggly lines. So boom, stroke, and you can see obviously I'm going to do some of the character as well. Just trying to cover up all these white outlines that are just sticking out. Very ugly white outlines. Boom. And then I'll get some on the hat as well. This part is criminal right here. Jesus Christ. Also in this app is where you can actually adjust the color for yourself. So say for example, I don't like how this police hat is fully black. You can just click on the shape and change the color. You can also change the color of the background to whatever color you like. It is a really cool way to just edit the picture itself. But I don't really know too much about editing it, so I just kind of leave it how ChatGPT made it. But cool option, cool feature to have as well if you want to do that as well. But let me go ahead and finish editing this picture, and then I'll cut to the finished product of what I have. Alright, so as you can see, I've pretty much got rid of mostly all of the white lines. I didn't get rid of most of the white lines on the character itself because last time I got rid of every single white line and filled in every single shape with a stroke paint, my character ended up kind of looking like this. So I'm not doing that. I just kind of just focus on the background itself and don't try and pay too much attention to the white lines in the middle of the character. But once you have your fully edited portrait, you are just going to click File, Save As, and you are going to save it as a plain SVG. You're going to save it as a plain SVG, not an Inkscape, but a plain SVG. And then boom, save it and replace it. Boom. And now you're going to go back to your Flash Decompiler, go to the actual portrait itself, so not the Divine Sprite child one, but the defined shape, and replace the image with the better looking one. And now when you go ahead and look at the status UI, let me go ahead and smack Eva.
You can't stop
You'll
me.
see that it's a lot better. Boom. Obviously, I could have done an even better job and got rid of more white lines, but you get the idea. Now you know how to get rid of the white lines. And that should be it. I really need to go to bed soon. Oh my god, that is how you do it. Yeah, if you want the Ada companion portrait that I just made in this video, I also linked that into the description. Thank you so much all for watching. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the comments. I probably won't know the answer, but I can always try and help. And stay safe, everyone. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.